Hi there, I'm Jess Lipman, mindful business coach and founder of the Mindful Nest. And I help healing arts, mental health professionals, mindfulness trainers, and life coaches holistically and sustainably run their business and make their impact, fusing together mindfulness meditation and daily life practices, as well as trauma informed digital marketing and product strategies. And I'm all about taking the guesswork out of building your client centered service business so that you can do what you really love, which is serve your clients from the heart and make your authentic impact and really just help more people this season. So, with that, I'd love to dive in a topic. It's called My Business, a Portal into Healing and Growth. And I'm going to share a little bit about how my own business as a mindful business coach and also a mindfulness coach has become a healing portal for myself. I help other people step on to the path of growth and development. And I also help people with their business. And what I've found as an entrepreneur is that my business actually really supports my own healing journey. I get to look at the parts of myself that feel resistant or that carry old stories that are ready to be retired. And I get to really navigate some of the challenges that come up in my business and learn how to convert those into opportunities, learn how to take those experiences and glean insight, glean the learnings from those things, and then bring that into optimizations in my own business so that I can live more fully from my authentic self, so that I can run my business in a way that's truly aligned with my values and vision today, and that ultimately meets my needs while also allowing me to be most impactful. So, whether you're struggling with people pleasing or you have in the past, or procrastination, or you notice imposter syndrome shows up in your business, in your work life, or even workaholism, this wanting to be on all the time, feeling emotionally regulated by working around the clock, and even bringing that kind of pattern and dynamic from some of your full-time work and that history into this entrepreneurial effort, really common. That can happen for many of us on this path. um, your business gives you the arena to face those inner qualities and patterns and tendencies head on. And I want to recognize how much courage it takes, humility, self compassion, commitment it takes to really let your business be this terrain of healing for you. It's really easy to allow these patterns to continue to play out and to go through these cycles, especially because a lot of these parts are having a key function in your life. They're there for a reason. They might even be working well in some ways and also have maybe some negative consequences or side effects in other ways. And so I just want to recognize how meaningful and courageous it is to even take this opportunity as you run your business to start to uncover these stones along the way. And on my own path, I'll just share that I've navigated workaholism in my life, and now I am living a life and running a business that feels truly restful, that's restorative, that even, when I think about it, it's like this easeful expansion. That's what I value today. So I've gone from that workaholism to this restful, easeful expansion. And I've gone from being a perfectionist to having agile momentum without the guilt, without the shame about making mistakes along the way. And having full compassion for my own humanity is something that was required in order to make that shift. And ultimately, it's opened up to this really swift buoyancy that I now have access to. Like, I can actually really move things forward quickly. I can go from idea to execution within a matter of minutes and hours, frankly. And it feels so good to put things out there, because part of what I want to say as a mindful business coach right now is that, especially in the startup phase, but really throughout the whole process of running your impact business, it's so important to be in collaboration and be in relationship with your craft and with your client. And so, as long as you are putting things out there and testing it and seeing, how does this land for my client? What results do they get? Is this an effective delivery vehicle? What needs to pivot and shift? That's actually what's really helpful and important in order to scale sustainably and optimize your impact and your systems and elevate that revenue. So the perfectionism for me was really holding me back, and something that I was on a path of adjusting for a long time. And ultimately, to also go from being really flowy, I'm a double Pisces. I love this watery flow and kind of feeling into what do I feel inspired to do today, and that can also get me into trouble. And so, as a solo entrepreneur, I really learned how to lean on and leverage my systems, project management workflows, scheduling, using my calendar efficiently, all of that, so that I can actually stay on track and really track and define my purpose and vision and track those goals and get things done and feel structured and organized while also maintaining that flow. So those are just some highlights about my own journey. And in this video, I'm going to share 3 ways my own mindful business has served as a healing portal for me. So I invite you to take what resonates, leave the rest, and we'll get started. So, number one, entrepreneurship offered me the space to explore a radical identity shift. And so stepping into coaching marked an important role in my own life and identity, and particularly in my career, because what it really meant was it represented that I was stepping away from a career track. So I used to have different titles in my career as a full time marketer and content manager before I went into coaching back in 2019. And those titles were actually really important to my identity. It's like how I saw myself in the world. My job was a significant part of the way I perceived myself and introduced myself, and all of those components of identity. I had titles like creative director, managing director, content lead, social media manager. And so when I stepped into entrepreneurship, all of those titles kind of dissolved, and I became coach, or whatever title I want to be. Right now it's mindful business coach, and other times it was mindfulness coach and or consultant. And so the title started to kind of dissolve. There was like a necessity to kind of let that go. And so that actually was a really big turning point for the way I saw myself. Like how do I see myself? And what happened there was there was a letting go of that title and also what it meant for my identity, which was very humbling. And mindfulness actually really helped me with this. So it helped me do this, like make this identity shift in a way that felt stabilizing and in a way that allowed me to maintain balance. Like it can bring on existential crisis even when there's this radical kind of transition or shift in career, especially when one identifies so tightly with career as like a top way of understanding the self. And so this letting go can be quite disruptive or emotionally dysregulating for some. And what I noticed was with my mindfulness practice, I actually got to really just see what it is, and like kind of like hold all of that with this equanimity and curiosity, even when there was some loss and sadness and grief that came with it, and also the opportunity and potential that this new career and entrepreneurial effort really represented too. And so there was some of that kind of transitioning, and then the emotions that come up with that. And so mindfulness was so helpful to surf all of those waves and stay afloat. That's how I like to think about equanimity, is it allows us to be the ship at sea that stays afloat, whether the seas are calm or whether the seas are stormy. And so it can be stormy seas when your identity starts to shift like that. And so it was just so meaningful to kind of have that resource there with me to hold me like a balm, a security, a safety net, if you will, that let me traverse those waters with stability. And this became my rubric for designing my coaching business, was really looking at what do I value today? How can I design my new path to represent my values, to represent my vision for my life, to represent my lifestyle goals, to represent how I want to feel daily and cultivate those emotions and feeling states and those qualities through this portal of impact work? And also, how can I be of highest service in a way that is most aligned with how I want to work and what I'm great at, and also where my growth edge is? And so I got to look at all of those different pillars in understanding how to craft my business and also see myself in this new role as a coach. And what I realized, it's not about the title anymore. Like, that was the big shift and big learning. It's coaching isn't, for me, it's not status driven at all. And so the journey has been about shifting to that new set of meaning layers, the things that matter to me, and to start to de-emphasize the status or the fame or other drivers that once motivated me in my career. And so that was helpful. It kind of illuminated, like, what are some of the things that used to give me a sense of meaning or purpose or identity that fell away, and what can I now replace that with intention? And ultimately, that my worth is not tied to my title. It's not tied to a specific company or person's name. I'm inherently worthy. And so the biggest question I answered over the last few years as a mindful entrepreneur has been, if I am not my title, then who am I? If I am not my title, then what am I? And the follow-up question that became possible leads us to the next pillar here, and point number two, which is entrepreneurship offered me the space to define my authentic self. And that has been such a gift for me personally, because for much of my life, I didn't know who I truly was. And I knew some of the things I was passionate about. I've been passionate about cinema for much of my life. I got a master's degree in critical studies from USC School of Cinematic Arts in my mid 20s. And, there's clarity about certain things, but I had a very hard time actually exploring those things to the fullest and pursuing things that felt authentically meaningful to me. That's where I actually really had some blockage and lack of muscle development, if you will. And what this resulted in was, it resulted in a life where I was offered a lot of opportunities and I'd make decisions based on what was presented to me. And I don't regret it at all. I've had some beautiful, exceptional opportunities that I've taken in my life, and lots of learning and professional and personal development as a result of it. And that being said, it was definitely an awareness I had. Once I got sober in 2014, I became very aware of the fact that I had been only receiving things from the outside. I wasn't pursuing things I actually cared about. And there was a real pain and sadness there. And so when I got sober in 2014, I got to really look at this question square in the face, which is, who am I today and what do I authentically care about? And do I have the courage to pursue it? How can I cultivate the space and conditions and resourcing to authentically explore what I actually care about? And this question has been probably the most important question I've answered in my entire life so far. I'm 38 years old right now. And it's one that continues to bear fruit and reveal answers. It's an ongoing process. And I'm guessing that might be the case for you as well. This process of really tuning into, what do you authentically care about today? Are you really pursuing it? And if not, what's holding you back? And so being authentic takes courage. I want to recognize that. It's risky business. It can be met with rejection or abandonment. Someone or an institution might say, we're not here for your authentic self. And that's risky. And it's just par for the course. That's what it means to be human and alive. And some people have the capacity to emotionally regulate that and still go for it anyways. They learned that you're allowed to have those things happen. You're allowed to take that risk and you'll actually land on both feet and it's worthwhile. And for others like myself, that was not something I learned early on. So for a long time, I didn't know how to emotionally regulate the possibility of rejection. And because of that, I would minimize those risks and not explore. That's the impact of that. And so this led to feeling empty. I felt unfulfilled or even lonely at times, but really had no clarity as to why I was feeling that way. And so now I can see why. It's that being authentic is actually what leads to feeling aligned. It leads to feeling alive and sparks that passion within and generates energy and makes life feel meaningful. And my coaching business is a space for me to explore my authentic self. I get to offer services that I enjoy authentically. I get to let go and retire products and services that I feel resistant toward or don't really feel inspired to offer. I get to design my business exactly the way I want. And I want to let you know that as well, as like if you're a mindful entrepreneur, if you're a healing arts or mental health professional, mindfulness trainer, life coach, please know that if you are building your own business and running it, like you get to define all of these different key factors and functions. You get to create your own product suite that lights you up. You get to serve your clients in ways that feels energizing for you and not depleting. And there's a necessity to that. It's the thing is like if you don't address that and be fully authentic in your business, this can lead to misalignment finding its way into your business and causing energy leakage. And this is a top challenge I see with mindful entrepreneurs is like doing things that feel like an obligation or doing something that seems like this is just something you have to do as a mindfulness coach or this belief like I'm a mindfulness trainer, I have to lead group sessions. You get to lead group sessions if you want to. And you can also choose to do private coaching if that inspires you. And you get to, you know, choose another delivery vehicle. Like maybe you do audio recordings that you send people because that's the way that you most prefer to work. There is no blueprint. And I think that's the hardest part with business sometimes is that it can sometimes feel overwhelming or we have this urge to subscribe to a cookie cutter model of business. And the reality is that you get to do this authentically. And that could be the hardest part. It could be the most exciting part of this journey is like you get to create your own business. And when you do, you feel the energy leakages and you actually create space to have a bigger impact on people. And so questions I ask myself to calibrate to my authentic needs include how does it feel on that alignment call with a prospective client? What does my body say? And noticing like what's the mind say? What's my body saying as I interact with this person who I might work with over 6 months in private coaching? Do I feel energized by the program I'm offering or do I feel depleted? Do I feel energized by this particular client or do I feel depleted? What components or qualities feel energizing and aligned? What feels depleting or misaligned? What boundaries can I implement based on the insight emerging from this experience that I'm having in my business? What can I proactively install in my business before this engagement in the future to better equip myself and my client to work together successfully? I.e., do I need an onboarding survey? Do I need to ask different questions during the alignment phase of client onboarding? Do I need my clients to have prerequisites before they get involved with me at this certain level in my business? So, those are just some questions to ask yourself. These are the questions I ask myself, which ultimately help me recalibrate what I offer, fine tune contracts, the whole bit. Okay. And so number three is I'm allowed to get my needs met and I get to design how that happens in my business systems. So, one of the coolest parts of running your own business is learning how to step out of the seat of employee and step into the seat of coach and owner of your business, whether you're a coach or consultant. So, this personally required me to define the terms of engagement and to optimize those over the last few years with every single client engagement. With every contract, I learned something new. What's working? What is missing that I'm now going to add to those client agreements, for example? And this has offered an opportunity for me to leverage challenging and rewarding experiences in my entrepreneurial journey as learning opportunities. This is key. I highly recommend you do this. You can take something that might be challenging or disappointing and convert it into a learning opportunity and point of optimization in your business. and it breathes so much more life into your business. It helps you do things more efficiently and in more alignment with your authentic self. And so, terms of engagement can include: how often do I meet with my private coaching clients? What's the duration of each session and why? What other program features do I provide? Am I available between sessions? And if so, what does that look like? How long do I work with someone? And is that a standard program feature, or do I customize that based on each client's individual needs? And so, with each client engagement, I had the opportunity to tune into my authentic self and alignment, and tune into this radical courage and tap into mindfulness for self regulation and co regulation with other people. Both of those types of resources that help me ultimately clarify and optimize with every iteration. So that's a huge part of my own healing is: how do I structure my engagements? What's included? What are the parameters of my offer stacks and my programs? And I teach my clients how to build these, and especially to tune into these different factors for self. And so, some really great questions to ask are: what did I learn from this type of contract model? What was frustrating and why? What policy can I introduce into my contracts going forward to create a more desirable experience and get my needs met more effectively? How can I be more impactful with my clients? How can I support people even better next time? And so, over time, I've been able to craft programs and offerings and my product suite and pricing, business boundaries, all of those things in a way that's truly aligned with my values, with my energy, with my vision, with my lifestyle needs, the things that happen around my business. And rather than choosing opportunities that I could barely stomach, which is something I used to do more often in my early days of consulting, that felt challenging. That felt overwhelming. It brought up a lot of challenging emotions. And frankly, that was all familiar. So there was a whole rewriting of that process for me that I had to really undergo so that I could tune into and sensitize to the ideal feeling states, the restfulness, the easefulness, that my clients and I, that engagement can feel pleasant and enlivening and really aligned. And so there was a reframing and a pivoting to create more space for the ideal situations. And that meant that I had to really learn how to say that aligned no, and set up boundaries or end engagements that no longer met my needs or that were mutually reciprocal. And that's been a big part of my own journey. So I wanted to just share those insights. And so, in your coaching or healing arts business, I invite you to take the opportunity to know yourself more, to adjust your services and the way your business functions and your pricing and the way you work in a way that matches your aligned values today. And to just say you're allowed to do that. This is your business. You're allowed to craft it in ways that work for you and that are also still highly effective and impactful, and offer prosperity, offer sustainable growth for you and your business. And I'd just love to hear, hop in the comments, let me know what resonates from this video. What have you healed on your own entrepreneurial path? What's ready to be healed for you? And what has being a client centered service provider taught you about yourself and your needs? I'd love to hear. Hop in the comments down below. Let me know. And if this resonates with you and you want more insight and support, I do offer a free mini online course. So I invite you to join that if you feel called to. Link down below. It's called How to Create Your Irresistible Program Offer. So I invite you to go from confusion to clarity, bringing your unique magic and genius into clear, effective programs, service packages, and pricing with authenticity. And so I offer the whole strategy there on how to craft those irresistible program offers in alignment. And my approach is really centered on unifying mindfulness and business strategies with a particular emphasis on trauma informed direct response marketing and product development. And so, if you're a mindful entrepreneur, if you're a healing arts and mental health professional, or a mindfulness trainer or life coach, I'd love to see you in that free course. And if you opt in down below, you'll get it right away. And with that, thank you for watching, and I look forward to connecting with you soon.